Soon as we step on the mic, man, you notice the difference. Heavenly blessed with the melanin, baby, you know that we winning. No time for the long talk, got 120 on the clock. Wednesday, 8 through 10, all the bad vibes better stop. Cause you gotta come with that energy. Casual Konvos, baby, come down and just sit with me. Lil' Coco be spitting that remedy. Casual Konvos, baby, come down and just sit with me. You better take this shit serious. She dropping knowledge on head and it's free for the play. Tap in right now if you curious. We got the ham radio going lit every A. We go from people to family to pilots. Stay with me if you got something to say. Know it's important if we go acknowledge. Speak on the business and get out the way. What you gonna say about my mama? She winning, you rockhead.
Hello to the Casual Konvo show with me, Coco, and my co-host, Big Boscoe from the Bronx. Where we have conversations about topics. Where we have topics about conversation. Let me start that all over because you starting already. Welcome to the Casual Konvo show where we have conversations about topics that affect the community's personal and business relationships. We always have the casual convo, so you don't have to have the tough convo. So, of course, like we have done in recent weeks, we're going to start with some Boscoe thoughts before I introduce tonight's topic. Y'all ready, Boscoe?
Let's do it. And y'all excuse me, I'm on my DJ mic, so I gotta hold it like this. Anyway, this one, it's on a sports thing. I know it should be something else, but I gotta speak on this one.
Do you?
I want to speak on those Chicago Bears. We got a real good close fan of the show, Twan Don. Got to check him out. The guy's like dope on the microphone. But Chicago Bears not looking that good this week. This year, he did a lot of talking, a lot of chirping a few weeks ago. You my boy Twan. Much love to you, homie. But them Bears are not looking too good. Like the Cubs right now. You know the Cubs not even in the World Series, not even in the playoffs. So you know how to. Let's talk about the New York Giants. Look how we're looking 4-1. We doing good. And let's give a shout out to Coco's New England Patriots.
Don't see the shout out. That's all I'm gonna say. Y'all saw
they
it.
They showed that ass last week. They went out there.
We're gonna say his name right today. It ain't even Zappy. It's Zappe.
Zappe. He went out there. He did that. Coco and Zappe and them New England Patriots went out there and balled.
Shut it down. Shut it down. I'm proud. He made me proud this week. I'm very confident. Look, I'm very confident for next game. You know that we're gonna win. We're gonna come back with another W.
Zappe is gonna show out. I'm gonna give him his props.
Yep.
But that's it for today. Chicago Bears, Twan Don. We need to holler at you. Call into the show. We know you're lurking around. Don't run. We got you. We got mad love for you. All right, let's get the show.
You know he always missing when his team lose. I peeped that.
Yeah.
Look at the girlfriend. Look at the girlfriend.
Yeah, so you're facing a place there, girlfriend.
She's supposed to be on my side because she's a Patriots fan too. So I'm not even understanding this whole conversation.
What is up with that?
Just let him know he was a hot topic.
Twan Dizzy Don, we got love for you, bro. Anyway, how about them Bears, though?
Yeah, you need to switch your team, bro. Because it ain't. The point ain't that no.
The Teddy Bears.
That's what they was looking like, real fluffy out on the court. I want to feel real fluffy.
Let's get the party started.
Anyhow, so let me just put out a disclaimer for myself.
Mine too. Add me to it.
Tonight's show is not for the sensitive. It's not for the people that's going to get in your feelings. And the personal disclaimer is these are the views of only Coco. What's come out of my mouth does not reflect the views. Right. Does not reflect the views of Ham Radio, Ham TV, or hamradio.org. These are all just me, myself, and he's allowing me to be great tonight. With that being said, I think it's safe to say we're going to have an open discussion. So some things have happened over the last couple of weeks. Well, not even the last couple of weeks. I'm going to say last couple of days that I feel like we need to talk about. So, I've been watching some stuff and I've been seeing a lot of I always say celebrities and people with in a certain bracket speaking on certain things. And I don't think that's the voice of us. And I feel like their view is a little bit, it just paints their narrative in their directive. So I did want to start with, what's first on the list is we all know the whole thing about Kanye West, was pretty much broke the internet with him and Candice Owens about this whole White Lives Matter shirt that they wore for the fashion week in I forgot where it was, but over there. Caused everybody to get in the uproar. People felt some type of way. Interviews, everything about it. So the one interview that I really watched that was kind of I have a lot of questions and I have a lot to say, and I kind of wanted to break it down and pretty much get some perspective on that. But first, let me ask before I say my stuff, because I got a lot to say.
Me too.
I'm gonna let you start. I'm gonna let you take the floor first.
Uh-oh, hold on a second. Earthquake.
Lord Jesus.
I want to send a shout out. I'm not gonna say a shout out. I want to call up all these Negroes who was talking all this about how Kanye is this and that, and how he's doing this for us black folks, and we're hating on him and everything. You know what? You're looking stupid right about now, like you always have been. When he was supporting Trump, y'all were saying, yeah, he should be president too. Kanye, y'all just hating because he has money. I said, you know what? Kanye is about Kanye. He's about building his brand. He don't care nothing. This is the same man who some years ago went on stage and said, George Bush don't care about black people. Then crashed the stage with Taylor Dane and and all this other stuff. It's the same guy. It's the same guy who, he does say some good stuff about how we shouldn't be stuck in the stereotype. But you know what? On the flip, all he does is expose our ignorance through himself. And Candice Owens, I usually don't even give her any time because there's a black child that wasn't born or who got killed in Chicago who didn't deserve it. And that person should have more. And what I'm saying is my views. That child who got killed in Chicago or went anywhere should have the breath that she breathes. I think it's idiotic what they did. It's a slap in the face of black people. And this is what I say about how black people, we need to stop enabling people because they have money and they're successful. Success doesn't make a person a good person. No, it doesn't. But we keep saying, yeah, but he's got money. Why are we hating on this black man for doing it? This black man don't care shit about us. Because if he did, he would cut the bullshit. Pardon my English, my French, or whatever you want to call it, vulgarity. He don't care nothing about us. He's trying to build his brand. Earlier today, I watched listen to Barton Hahn and ESPN. Can we get a sponsorship, ESPN? Alan Hahn is a white guy, and he said people need to stop looking at this guy as the voice. And Bart, I forgot his last name. He played for the Jets. He said he does not speak for us. Kanye West does not speak for black people, and black and white people need to stop seeing him as our voice because he is not our voice. Yes, he's successful, but he is not our voice. I pass the stage to you.
Oh, that was it. You've been light.
It's more, but I want you to. I feed off of your energy.
I ain't gonna rant today though. But first of all, can I just say
I want you to rant.
Shout out to my boy Tasia for
take that fake margarita, that tomato margarita, and I want you
no.
Well,
I don't do those. This is strawberries and blueberries, and with a little something in there.
Kind of dark strawberries.
It's healthy, but so I just want to say this:
dark strawberries.
It's blueberries in there too.
Gotcha.
See, there you go. All right, so let me just say this. My little spill on the whole thing. First, I'm gonna say this about Kanye. I don't dislike him. I think there's deeper rooted issues that is not being addressed that should be addressed. I feel like he's not a billionaire for nothing. So clearly he has a good business mind. He's very creative. I understand some things. However, wearing the black wearing a White Lives Matter and trying to dismantle the Black Lives Matter movement made me feel some type of way. I can't support that. And the reason why, I'm not saying all lives don't matter. They do. Every life is valuable, no matter what race, what ethnicity, what you represent, right? But why is it that whenever Black lives are acknowledged as human, why is it that it's mainly us that try to take away the humanity of a Black life because of what we look like and what we represent, the color of our skin, right? So this whole tour that him and Candice is going on, trying to justify wearing the shirts and saying because Black Lives Matter ain't nothing, it's not for the people, but you clearly are not. So you trying to say White Lives Matter, they're not, what did he say? She said something. It wasn't even him. She said something like their lives matter too. They're not being acknowledged. They're not doing this. I don't hate nobody. I don't dislike anybody. But my thing is, let's call privilege privilege. If I walk in a room or Bosco walk in a room and somebody else that's from another culture walks in the room, there's a difference in treatment. Even if that person is Latino, they're treated a certain way. If that person is Asian, they're treated a certain way. If that person is Jamaican, African, or whatever, they're treated a certain way based off of the projection of when they enter the room. Now, if you have a Caucasian person enter the room, they are more than likely to get the attention first in a positive way, whereas the will be getting ignored. So when we bring up these things and you want to completely dismantle a movement, if you don't like certain people that you say, okay, they don't stand for this and stand for that, but it's taken away from the whole projection of what Black Lives Matter is. It's not just about two people. It's about a race of people who, yes, granted, we kill ourselves every day. But does that mean if I'm pulled over or if I'm outside in a store, that gives a person the right to take my life just because they ain't like the color of my skin? Like, we got bigger fish to fry. So when you do that, and I feel like who get ready to come out with a book, she has her own platform. He has music. He has clothes. He has shoes. He just finished dismantling his whole with Adidas or whoever he had. Now he's trying to exploit all these things. Then I go back to say this. When I say there's a deeper issue with Kanye, I feel like, no, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not nothing. I feel like he's very manic. So if you look at it a couple of months ago, I'm just give you an example. I just want to dissect this a little bit. If you go back a couple of months ago, when he did like Drink Champs and other interviews, he spoke a different way, right? But it seems like when he get into this political thing, or if he's trying to get a deal or appease a certain group of people, and he want to push an agenda, he gets this different change of voice. So if you be around people who suffer different types of illnesses when they get in a manic mode, not saying that they're not creative, not saying that they're not highly intelligent or smart, they tend to adapt the personality. And I feel like that's what you see. And I even did it today. I watched the Carlson Tucker interview, which I'm gonna get into later. Tucker Carlson, whatever his name is. I'm gonna get into that later. I watched that and I went back and did that. It's like two totally different people, right? So I feel like instead of telling him, oh yeah, do this, do that, no white Caucasian platform was trying to interview this man before he came out with this whole narrative and wearing these shirts. So I feel like there's a different agenda. He's trying to get them on board. But when he was fighting for his kids and them people who had went against him, who did he lean on? The same people who you trying to go against and saying that we're trying to disgrace another culture. That's not the truth. We're fighting for ourselves, not them. We're not saying that they don't matter. We're just saying acknowledge the fact that we are human beings. We bleed. We have emotions. We have feelings. We have children. We have families. We have all of the same things, but we're only looked at as the color of our skin. So when you have a group of people in this millionaire, billionaire bracket, y'all can't speak on this and what that meant to us. And I feel like everybody got something to say, but you're not speaking to the people who are deep rootedly affected by the color of their skin every day in these different communities and don't have the same resources and outlets that these people have or that he's speaking negatively about. So
You know
we gonna
what? No, good. No, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
I go ahead.
You know what? You touched on something that I was going to say. That's why I wanted you to say your piece because I knew what you say. I was going to feed off of it. You hit it because you hit it on the head because every time he puts out a project of anything, music, clothing, he always does this. He did it with his last album, and all these black people. No, I'm not going. All these niggas was like, yeah, yeah, Conley, yeah, he should be president. That he should run. Da, 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 da. And I said he's trying to promote his album. That's all he
Mm-hmm.
was doing. And after he promoted his album, that's when the stuff went on with him and Kim with the kids. And guess what? He leaned on us. He leaned on black people. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yo, this is how the white man. Da, 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 da. But as soon as he got this project, he goes right to the white man and appeases him. So basically, what these Negroes don't realize, he's using us.
Mm-hmm.
He's using us, and they're too stupid because they're blind with he's successful. And like I said, he made his billion. More power to him. He's a black man who came from whatever, and a great producer. I mean, does makes great music.
Mm-hmm.
But when things are going bad, he leans on us. But when he want to make his money, he go to the other side. And that's what some of these people who say I don't watch the news because the news fake. The news I always say the news, and I'll say it over and over. The news is the plan. You have to watch the news. The news is the plan. If you didn't watch Tucker Carlson, you would not have heard what he said. But by the time the stuff got on Facebook, it'd have been a whole different narrative. You have to watch the horse speak for himself. Because once the horse tells you what he has to say, you have to run with that. What Maya Angelou said, when a person shows you himself the first time, believe them. And a lot of these people need to start watching the news so the horse can speak to them. And there's no denying. Candice Owens, like I said, I don't give her the time of day because I've seen her getting smoked. But conservative white media loves her because she speaks so downly towards black people.
Mm-hmm.
But when Fox News basically said, "Look here, Heaux, I won't say the word, get out of here," she was talking about, they treated me wrong. Da, 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 da. It was the same with Stacey Dash.
Yep.
She was down in the hood in the beginning, showing booty. She got on Fox News. She forgot where she came from. But when they stabbed her in her back, said, "Look here, we don't need you anymore." She came back to the hood. Can y'all please forgive me for what I did to y'all for how many years? You did a Candace Owens on us for how many years? She wanted to come back. And us being the most forgiving people on the planet, we're like, come on back, Stacey. No. A snake is going to bite you 10 times out of 10 times. You cut the head off of a snake. That's the only way you can stop it. And with Candace Owens, it's going to happen to her. She's going to come back. No. You let her stay where she is. And it's not racist what we're talking about. And as for violence, we, black people, white, no matter who you are, you tend to commit violence in your neighborhood. I don't like that narrative. How can you have Black Lives Matter when you kill in your own neighborhood? Okay, then why can't you care about child molestation when white men are a 92% chance at the 92% percentile of child molestations and sexual, so basically until you guys stop molesting your children, raping your wives, whatever, don't talk about how we need to care about what y'all do. That's the way I look. It's a double-edged sword. We do what we do in our neighborhood. Y'all do what y'all do in your neighborhood. But see, y'all put us at this higher standard, even though we're at a disadvantage and we're way down in the population, but we're at this high standard. You guys need to look at yourselves, But they always say, and Black Lives Matter is more than just like me and this guy. I can't remember his name now. He was selling shirts, and we saw Black Lives Matter as more than just the police. It was like, we need to stop killing ourselves too. That's Black Lives Matter. We can't. We need to stop it. We need to stop all of this. But see, they look at it as, until y'all stop killing yourself, why should we care? Because we're human. Not all of us are violent. You guys are violent too. Just remember who started this nonsense when we got off the boat. Who kept us basically at a disadvantage up until the 1960s when we built our communities and you guys burned it down. Every time we had a community, 120 something, and if you need proof, I'll post it. 120 something black communities were burned after the Emancipation Proclamation. We can go to Rosewood. We can go to Wilmington. We could talk about Tulsa. So we will always been at a disadvantage. So I tell them, kill that noise about how we kill ourselves. It's survival. This is all we knew. No, so we know survival. You know.
Mike made a point. You only hurt people in the general area that you live in. I agree, but
Right.
I'm gonna also say this: when you have people, I don't know if Mike's seen the interview. I don't know. I don't know. Did anybody other than me watch that interview? So when he spoke on black crime, it went on to the whole thing of why black BLM was bullcrap. A lot of us can say maybe some of the people who organized some of the movements or are in high ranking of the organization got some stuff with them, right? Okay, minus that. The overall projection of what it stands for, and I'm not even going to just say this organization is this because I'm not going to blame that on us. I mentioned it last week when I said accountability. We got to take accountability for the things that we do and what we say. So when you have this person that's on this status, that's a billionaire, black man, talking about that to a group of people that could give two shits about us, but you selling the same people who you talking shit about $400 and $500 pair of tennis shoes in these same communities, and we supporting that. So my question would be then is, when do we check ourselves again? You know, because then we got a bigger issue to fry. Because when we talk about enabling, shit, like I said, when he went through the stuff with his kids, we always be like, "Oh, let that man see his kids." Da, 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 da. We was all there, right? Supporting them through the bull crap. And the first thing he do, the same people who leaned on for that support, because they wasn't supporting them, they were supporting them Kardashian people. We supported them, then you turn back around and do this. So we're not the only ones that hurt ourselves. And that's why I said the conversations need to start with us, the people who are actually in these communities, see certain stuff, who may not have a negative mindset. So we quick to point fingers and stuff, but we won't do what we need to do. Like, how many of us is going to tell your homeboy, your homegirl, yo, you wrong. Why you going to do that?
Yes, man.
It's, it's,
Syndrome.
it's bigger fish to fry, which we're going to get into that as well. Throughout the show, it's kind of like, I said it before, we quick to point all of these fingers at other people, but it's people like him with that mindset, people like her with that mindset, who are not here we're going through, who have access to different things and different resources. And it's not even just about the money. I mean, it is about the money, but it's not about the money. But you can't speak on certain things like how he spoke. You ain't dealing with the same trials and tribulations the same way a person is. Now, yes, you are a black man, you are a black woman, but you're not living under the same set of rules and the same set of circumstances that other people are living according to. So that's why I said we need to have a bigger discussion about people who getting on these major platforms, giving other groups of people the aha, look at these niggas. And then we still going up for them, spending $400-$500, but you won't even $400-$500 on your kid education.
You know something? That's why I don't have beef with Michael Jordan. Because the same ones who support guys like Kanye are the same ones who bash Michael Jordan because he wasn't so much out there in the public, you know. And I followed Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan did a lot of stuff, but with Michael Jordan, he didn't advertise the stuff he did. But because he didn't advertise it, people think he didn't do it. Michael Jordan did a lot of stuff. But Michael Jordan wasn't with the bullshit either. And see, but these same guys support Kanye.
He's invested into prisons. I'm sorry, I had to say
that's not the same Michael Jordan.
Oh, you talking about somebody else? Oh, I thought
it's a white Michael Jordan.
All right. Can you say the white one next time?
Oh, my bad. Yeah. Okay. The white Michael Jordan invested in prisons. But see, some people were so even I posted it. And people said, no, he still invested. I said, well, show me where he invested in prisons. He didn't. But these are the same ones who praise Kanye. And they say, well, we can't put down. This is why I have an issue with the woke guys. Well, I call them the woke niggas. This is why I got an issue with them. They say we need to support this black person regardless because they're successful. Like I said, you're not going to bring a snake to someone's house knowing what it's going to do. So no, just because he's successful doesn't mean. And with the money thing, I think sometimes when we get money, we forget where we came from. We forget everything because we know if we sell ourselves out, we get more money. Look at the music. We sold ourselves out. We can go back to jazz. We can go back to blues. We can go back to rock and roll. We can go back to hip hop. We get somewhere and we sell ourselves out. Look at Robert Johnson for BET. Well, BET had that thing rocking. He sold it out. Now look at it. We get money and we sell out. That's why I salute Master P so much. Because he's like, no, I ain't selling out. You know, he's a shrewd businessman, but he's gonna put black people on. He's gonna put black people on. He's gonna make you work. He's gonna put black people on. But we have to stop. Yeah, we gotta have that conversation. We gotta stop enabling each other. This is why I say with the feminist program and the feminist thing, why don't we just come together? Because feminist is not just a female. A feminist is anyone who supports a female. But see, what our people, we think feminism is just about women supporting women, and that's not it. That's why we need to stop with the division where, oh, well, this person's too light skinned to be us. Oh, this person's so dark skinned, they're African, I don't like them. Oh, this person's a woman, black woman, so we don't need to deal with the black men. And we got the, misogynist men. Oh, forget the women. We need to cut that shit out because, see, they don't care about us.
Mm-hmm.
We got to have conversation with ourselves. Say, okay, what are we going to do to get this right? We are too divided, and I call him the white man instead of the white man. The white man, he thinks of all these ways to break us apart. And we got guys like Kanye and women like Candice Owens, used to be Stacey Dash. We got the knucklehead Chief Justice Thomas.
You talking about Charleston White?
Nah, Thomas. Clarence Thomas.
Oh, okay.
I like Charleston White because he makes a lot of sense. But we'll talk about him. So he's a tricky guy.
Yeah. We definitely won't get that at. But Mike asking the right questions today. Mike said Kanye West used it as free publicity, which takes me to my statement. We know this, right? Does it make it right? So, which goes back to the whole enabling thing. So my question would be to you and people listening, watching, of course, if you want to call in 410-598-4242, or you could chime in, is knowing this. And my thing is, if you express this publicly and you're going on these platforms, that's not for us. They're for different people who are against us. And they never supported this man before. You never seen him on these. They wasn't inviting him with open arms. But as soon as he does this and do that, hold on, Mike. Let me land. So, Mike, like, who is he hurting? First of all, would you still support him knowing that he feels like y'all don't mean shit? Because that's pretty much what he's saying. He
uses the biggest platform to bash us.
Yeah, it's like F black people as long as y'all buy my shoes, as long as y'all spend thousands of dollars on these bummy ass clothes. Excuse my French. Motherfucking shoes ugly as shit. Clothes ugly as fuck. But y'all gonna spend it because it's yay. But here's this man that's sitting here talking about your whole fucking community, and he don't care about what happened to y'all because he ready to make a profit. And like he just said, he make $100 million a month, right? 100 million a month. So my thing is certain statements kill me because it's like we don't look and we just like, okay, we the only race that accept, and I said that shit last week. We accept anything and we'll still spend our dollar there. Then when you got somebody in your community that's trying to do something positive, you'll rob that motherfucker. Or you'll cut that one, but you won't even spend $50, but you'll go ahead and spend $500 on some Yeezys. And he gonna sit and talk shit about you, and make sure he know y'all can't afford that. And even if you can, something. All right, go ahead.
Amen.
I said I'm a backtrack.
No, you're nailing it.
I don't buy. Let me tell you something. I don't buy shit. I don't own not one pair of Yeezys. Not certain things I just don't support. So let me be the first to say that.
But I know a lot of
one thing I do know, anybody who follow me on Instagram or anything, if I come across somebody, especially somebody from Baltimore, and you got a clothing line or anything like that, I will buy something from you to support you. I'd rather spend my black dollar that I earned on with my hard hands and feet. I would rather spend that in my community and see my brother or my sister land. I don't even buy candles from my people other than my homegirl Tiff. If my homegirl or somebody I know got a business in my community, guess what? I got a friend that's doing photography. Do you think I'm gonna pay somebody else to do my photography when I got this dude? I'm not going to do that. I mean, we got to be careful about how we spend our money when we make conversations like that. And I'm thinking, my thing is, if I say something, I can't say, okay, I'm gonna do this and do that. I'm not supporting that. And I stand tall on what I support on. Okay, and y'all can also go to handradio.org/shop to support Hand Radio merch. Thank you.
That's what I just told Hand Radio. Send it to my IG so I can put it out there too. Yeah, and see that's the thing. I see people around here with Yeezys and stuff like that.
Black people, I ain't like Yeezys. Right?
True, it's tailored for white people, but black people do buy it. I've seen it. Black people, especially around here, and these Negroes around here ain't got no money, but they rock Yeezys. Remember when he had those T-shirts that he was selling for $150? People around here were buying. Black people around here were buying it. I was like, I said, look, I could go to Walmart and design you a T-shirt and sell it for less than that. Nah, this is Kanye's. Okay. And it's a shame. Like I said, we will support a person who's making $100 million a month. But our man around the block who's doing the same thing, we won't even give him a share on Facebook. Yo, buy my man's joints. He got this over here. He got this over there. We won't do it. And see, that's the mindset we're in, and that's why we gotta have these discussions, because see, we seem to be oblivious to things, or we know it's there, but we try to tell ourselves, it ain't really happening. Yes, it is. You know, I'm 58 years old. I always tell people, I can remember.
That man ain't getting rich. I'm sorry to cut you off, Bosco. That man is not getting rich off of just the Caucasians, the Latinos. Let me tell you, his biggest supplier, and he will tell you himself, because we follow the media, the Instagrams, the celebrities or whoever you follow. They like, oh, I got these Yeezys on. We know that shit looks dumb and hobo-ish. But the first thing, they got it. Oh, they found shit. I paid $500 for this, and you be like, they ugly as fuck.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. You know, like I said, we're so oblivious to believe things aren't the way they are. Like I said, I'm 58, and vaguely, I can remember when Martin Luther King got shot. I can remember stuff like that. And he said, "No, dude, I was born during the civil rights era. I seen how things changed over time. So when someone says we don't do this, I say you're bold-faced lie, because I see it. I see it every day. I see it every day. I don't just associate with one clientele of people. Even when I'm at work for Marriott, night auditor, I see black guys, white guys, black women, white women, and I see what they wear. And I'm like, damn, our rooms are $300 a night. But I see them coming in with Yeezys on and all this other stuff. And I'm like, they think I make a lot of money. I say, y'all be surprised what I make. I don't make what y'all think I make. But see, we like I said, we're not accountable for ourselves. We let shit go. We're not accountable. We seem like we're afraid to say, yo, man, come on, yo, chill. Because we got yes men. We want to be yes men. We want to stay in the good graces with our homie, or because we're black, or we got to stick up for each other. So does that mean we don't have to check each other? When I was coming up in the 70s and 80s and even in the 90s, we checked each other. Yo, come on, homie, chill. But now it's like, nah, we ain't got to do that. We got to support each other regardless. No, we don't. Shit is still shit, regardless.
And not only that, to answer Mike, you always know when Mike in a check. Mike raises my blood pressure. But no, I just want to say this. It's not that talking about him gives him the publicity. I think a lot of times, and especially us, we be like, yay, because we want to support our brothers and sisters. Like Morena, let me say your name right. Morena Bella.
That's
like, are we shifting into the black community? That's the whole point of the whole thing, is because when he goes on these rants and he goes on these tyrants and all of these things, right? The first thing we do as a community is show love and support and make excuses, which goes back to what Bosco said. I'm not sure if you caught the beginning, the enabling piece.
Hmm.
So, in order to get to the root, to get people to understand, we got to have these conversations to break down and show why we shouldn't enable them and put their money back. Like I said before I go and spend 500 with this man, I will rather take that same 500. If I'm like, okay, if I was a person, just think about, if you take 500 and you bought maybe a $50, $60 shirt, shoe, pair of pants, jacket from somebody in your community that's really trying to make it and get it, and half of these people that's in these communities are trying to give it back, just like Ham Radio, if you support his merch, who put back into these communities. You want to sit there, and so we got to have these conversations to make people realize how idiotic sometimes it is that we will spend this much money on a billionaire that does not pour this same money. He's building his own community. He didn't say, I'm putting this money back into this school system, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. You hear him talk about his community, which is great. And we're going to get into the whole land thing and all that. I'm not even against that. But what I'm against is going on a platform to kind of disgrace people that look like you, which is us, and put yourself on a pedestal for these people who never even understood you or gave a fuck about you. But then you still want us to support and buy your $400 or $500 shoes. So what I'm saying to you is, I don't buy them. I don't buy Jordans. I'm gonna keep it real. I don't buy
Never had.
Jordans. But what I will do is, like I said, and it's, I don't even know if they on here. It's some people I don't even know. I probably never even met or spoken to a day in my life. But if I see you got a clothing line, especially if you locally here in Baltimore, I bought your shirt. I bought a couple of them on this show, and I will continue to do that. I will rather put that into a brother or sister coming up. Like I said, I got a friend that sell candles. I got friends that do photography. I got a friend that do hair, make all kinds of stuff. My daughter do massages. What am I going to spend my money somewhere else for? And I can put this money right back in here, uplift who I need to uplift, and keep it moving and pushing. And that way we can build our own communities up. So we don't have them conversations, but we quick to point a finger about, oh, this, that, and the third, but y'all do this and y'all do that. Okay, so what do we do to pull that back? If we can take the negativity, the same way all these celebrities and people who don't live in our communities do,
Hmm.
speak negatively on all of these platforms, which gets me upset. And I've been saying the same thing every week. We got to take some kind of accountability and stop pointing all these fingers at all of these other people. What are we doing to change the narrative? We can't wait for somebody else and be like, oh, what they doing for us, but this is why they doing it. Okay,
Hmm.
stand on your own too, and try to change it.
You know what? Like I've bought stuff from people like shirts. I buy shirts, and bought shirts from people who the shirt didn't fit me, but because I liked the shirt, I bought it, and that put money in their pockets. Like I probably got like I don't know 15, 20 t-shirts in there with different stuff on it. They didn't fit, but I liked the shirt, and I said, "Yo, I want that." You know, and that put money in their pockets. Like the guy, Elroy, that's his name. He had a black clothing line, Black Lives Matter, on different stuff. You might have seen me wore a shirt that said oh god, I can't even think of the name of it now. Anyway, I bought like 5 shirts from him, you know. But he black people would not support him. And it was a shame. He had Black Lives Matter shirts, hip hop shirts. I mean, God, he had some people, some like people like not what's his name in Louisiana? David Banner bought a shirt from him, stuff like that. But he was trying to get people locally to buy it. And nobody bought it. He went into a depression. I ain't heard from him since. I don't even know if he's still alive because black people wouldn't support him. And in our neighborhoods, and we do have a black business, what we have to do, and this is why black people, and I'm sending this out to my sister, and I hope she's watching it. Um, we need to learn how to make business plans. Business plan, because see, people don't realize a business plan will help you, and even take a little learn about marketing. It'll teach you how to compete without, because see, in our neighborhoods, I know how we get stores, we tend to overprice things. You have to learn, you got to write a business plan. Then you have to learn how to market, because then you know how to compete with the others without jacking your prices up and knocking yourself all the way down.
Mm-hmm.
And those who consumers have to stop saying to each other, yo, give me a hookup, give me a hookup, give me a hookup. If this man, if you're putting the money in his store buying his products, he'll do it to where he can run sales and give you, okay, I give you this 2 for $5 or 3 for $10 because he's making that money to where he can drop a few prices down and say, okay, I'm gonna run this on sale. But we
Mm-hmm.
have to stop asking for hookups
I
and say,
agree.
help this man build so he can do things for the community, like I said, sales or donate, whatever. He have
Mm-hmm.
stuff that's gotta be got rid of because he can't sell it. Well, he can give it away. Like, here you go. Da 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 da. You know?
How Marina Bella she made a good point, and I do. Can we just speak on this for like maybe a couple minutes?
Yeah, yeah.
She said, you know what? I have a frustration about buying from our own people. I'll be ready to buy from ours, even if they aren't official yet. And I've gotten the backhand. So, what I will say is, I'm not going to say all of us had the same business mind, right? But what I will say is, if you give me bad business, bad service, bad quality, I just won't spend another dollar with you. I do believe in customer service. However, I don't let that stray me from supporting other people because I do run across some people that have excellent business service. But what I will say is we have people like Starbucks, um, Chick-fil-A, all of these other major corporations that have out even like major designers like what's his name, Tommy Hilfiger, Versace, all of them people that will blatantly tell you my clothes ain't even for y'all. Like Mike mentioned, certain clothing are tailored and really meant for a certain body type. We thick. We got weight on us, but we'll squeeze our asses into some stuff. So what I will say is, but we take that and we'll still spend thousands and hundreds on these things because, thank you, Mike, because it's a label, right?
Right.
So, I, but I also think we got to be mindful of that too. And my thing is, I'm big on customer service, especially anybody who
Yeah.
knows me. If you treat me wrong, I tell you put that shit back, or I just won't go
Right.
back. Never get my dollar again. I don't forget that. I'm very much a Gemini and stubborn in that way. Whereas
Yep.
though I will hold on to that for my dear life. And nope, we ain't going in there. And they like, but that was my experience, and I won't spend another dollar. So I think also when that comes, we also got to take time to maybe work with our people to show them ethics. Because a lot of times we got to look at educational structures. We got to look at certain things and the follow the leader mentality. And sometimes people think this is the professional way. Oh, this is my price. Da, 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 da. I don't want the discount. I'm willing to pay the price to support you,
Right.
but at least you got to work on this. So even like I said, I have friends who are most of my friends are all entrepreneurs in some way, right? So if they might be like, friend, da 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 da, this is that and the third. Even when you have a difficult customer, you still got to keep a level of professional.
Professionalism.
So that's something that we always talk about, how we can be better, how we can be great. But those are conversations that not only do we have amongst ourselves, but even with people who may support us, how can we be better? What can I do to make me better? What do you think can do these? These are the conversations that we won't have. We'll just get mad and go astray, but we won't sit down and be like, I know you probably having a bad day, but listen. And sometimes we gotta take time to educate ourselves because we'll do that with the next one when they do the whole I'm gonna leave them a bad review. Leave them same people one too. So maybe they can see it that it's hurting their business. Because what you see other people do, they go out of business and they come back with a grand reopening. You know what I
You know
mean?
what? I
So
think one of the reasons with that is we try to stick with that stereotype we have on us, rather than saying we like the way we speak. Like I had so many people tell me, you talk white because I would speak professional. I said no, this is just the way my mother told me to speak, because she said if a person can't understand you, they won't listen to you. And
mhm.
I think our people see as talking with good grammar as talking white. Oh, that's not our language. This is the language of the land.
Mhm.
We have to know it because this is where we're going to get. If you listen to Jay Z, if you can consider Jay Z talking white, because he speaks good grammar.
Mm-hmm.
Look at LL Cool J. If you want to say talking white, they don't use slang. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to. You don't have to talk a certain way. Like when I'm at work, I got my professional voice. You know,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I say, what's up, dude?" I say stuff like that on the slide. But I speak normally. I speak like I'm speaking now. Actually, I don't change anything. And they look at me like, "Where are you from?" I said, "Well, originally from New York." I said, "But I've been here for a few years." They said, "Wow, okay, I like the way you speak." You know, but we had to learn to be professional and stop thinking being professional is being white. It's not. Professionalism has no color. Professionalism is a mentality. That's why you'll call it professional.
Mm-hmm.
Professionalism. It's not a color. It's a mentality. We have to learn it. That's why I say when we start opening these businesses or whatever, we need to read. We've gotten away from reading. Just read. Read how to be a businessman. I can't stand Donald Trump. Don't get me wrong. I can't stand him. However, when I was locked up, my brother sent me the book, The Art of the Deal. I read that whole book, and I was like, "Damn, that's how I knew his mentality, how he did business." I said, "Oh, okay, I see how he does things."
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of grimy, but he always said, "You always feed them the fish. Feed them the fish. Tell them what they want to know. Feed them the fish. You want their dollar, so you got to feed them the fish."
I I'm not trying to cut you off, but I did
Hmm.
Mike is on a roll tonight in the comment section. For those of
Hmm.
you who are listening, we have this supporter who usually gives me a hard way to go, and I usually be like on the fence about a lot of his stuff. But Mike has been on point tonight, I must say. So I'm I always give props where they do. Mike made a good statement and said the Chinaman makes your kids stand outside to get in a store. Yeah, black people complain about professionalism. That is dead on, and I'm gonna say I had a conversation with a friend because I was told not to say someone. So I'm quite sure that you know you're listening or watching, so you know who I'm talking to. So my friend, right? He said, we were talking about the same thing of how we can't even go sit down, go around. Some of the stores, especially here in Baltimore, I'm not sure where other people from, but like when you go in the store here in Baltimore, like your local corner store, even at your little Chinese spots, they got the plexiglass, bulletproof glass, whatever it is. They want to spin a little thing around. You get your stuff. They don't even want to. They don't even want
I
to
saw
interact.
that when I saw you that day. I was like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, they want. They spin a little shit around, and they don't even want to interact with you, right? But they want your
Right.
money. Oh, they want to see the money go. And you know how like usually like back in the day, and I want to go back to Marina made a good point about business ethic. I come from an era where as though before the Chinese stores and Arab stores
Yeah.
penetrated communities, we had a lot of black owned small businesses that ran
A
these stores.
lot of them.
If you were like a penny short, a dime short, they'd be like, "Don't worry about it, just bring it back next time." Let me tell you, them Asians will put your shit back.
Hmm.
Come back when you got off, and that's it.
Hmm.
And you got to come back when you got that other penny. So I say that to say Mike did makes a good point. We do talk about professionalism from other people, but we accept this. So I
Right.
think the point the conversation needs to be had with all of us as a whole, including myself, including Bosco. When do we stop expecting these things? My daughter done stay here and learn how to make Chinese food. So if I need some bourbon chicken, some fried rice, or whatever, Tita, she gonna hook it up.
Well, when I
Yeah,
come through Baltimore,
I
I
don't
need my
want to
fried
know.
rice.
And it be tasting better. At least we know we getting some real stuff, and it's not the local rats in the community. Like, I'm all for supporting the community, but I don't want to eat the community. But at the same time, oh,
Yeah, she
Miranda,
could make.
oh,
Oh, she
Miranda,
could make. She could make some egg rolls.
oh, we gotta switch information.
Hey, yo, she lived like right up the block from me. I walk right up there for the egg rolls,
Hmm.
and it's a hill too, and I walk right up the hill for the egg rolls.
Yeah, it is, and, and that's the beauty of having conversations like this. Like we have so many discrepancies, but there's so much that we can do. You know what I mean? So much that we can give back to ourselves and take accountability and stand tall and really embrace our own culture and our own community, and maybe help each other out and educate each other. And I know sometimes we can be hard, we can be tough, but sometimes that tough love hurt. You be like, in your store, and I ain't coming back. But that don't mean you take your dollar over there. Just take it back home and do some other stuff. And I know we running short on time in this first half, but I just want to make mention because I know Bosco going to take me home, whatever he get ready to say. So I know we are going to touch on ownership of land, not just property. Certain things that can really help our communities and what we need to do as far as being uplifted. So I think the one positive thing that I'm gonna say I did take from
I see you, Lamont.
From Kanye rant. Hey Lamont, from Kanye rant and all of these interviews that he going on, it just opened my eyes as how lost we are as Black people. I mean, I'm not taking away from white people. I don't dislike white people. I don't like my Hispanic people. I don't dislike Asian people. But what I like to focus on is my people because we are so gone. It seemed like, and we don't have these conversations, but we'll tap into other people having these conversations, but we don't tap into each other. We don't tap into each other businesses. Like I said, I tell people all the time, why you going to Bath and Body and getting all this? Girl got candles right there. She got your scents right there. You know, this is and the third. I'm going to plug my friend. But a lot of times we hate so much on each other and we become envious of each other. We don't want to see the next person win. You won't even plug your homegirl or your homeboy. If I know somebody that has a business or they do something and I meet somebody, I'm going to plug somebody that I know, even if I don't know you. Okay, Marina make egg rolls, right? Let me hit this girl up on Facebook. She make egg rolls. She probably can ship you some. Let me see what she can do.
That's all when you had that food show.
Yes, and guess what I'm gonna do? I'm the type of person I'm gonna DM them and see. Do you ship your egg rolls? Because I can make you can make
Oh,
some
we
money.
can. I can make it happen with it. Remember, I'm the chef, so I know how to I know how to freeze things and get things shipped.
And I'm not even a selfish person. I'm not even like that. I don't even want the finder's fee. Look. You put some money in your pocket. You do whatever you got. That's your talent. I might not even have the egg roll, but I'm gonna pump you up like I had about 100 of your egg rolls.
Morena, we need to do this.
You deliver.
Call me after the show, Morena.
Please do.
But check it out. You know what? And we spoke about this a few weeks ago. About stores and ownership. We can't open a store in Chinatown.
Nope.
We can't open a store in the Mexican neighborhood, Little Italy, Greek. We can't open a store there. We can't do it. We can't even have a little fruit stand. But everybody can come to our hood. We can't even open a store in our hood because we tear it down. That's a shame. Everyone has.
I'm so
What's
sorry.
up?
I read the comments. I know what Drew was talking about. Mike like at me. Drew
Oh yeah. I've been reading all the comments, man. I've been reading all the comments.
Mike, I got you after the break.
Yeah. I've been reading all the comments.
That shit was funny.
And see, that's what we have to. We get a. This is why I hate to stop snitching and all this other. You know, if we got something going on in our hood, whether it be a guy who has like a vendor or he has a store, and someone robs it in our hood, I don't care what they say. We need to get these dudes out of our neighborhoods. Stop it. Oh, I ain't snitching. No, because you know what? You just destroyed this man's life. Mm-hmm. And you're gonna let this other cat go because this guy put a lot of money in to build his business, you know. And I seen a guy whose business fell, and it took him down, man. It took him way down. And I hadn't heard from him in years, and that was my dude. Like I said, I don't even know if he's living anymore because his business failed because of our people. So we need to.
We can push them up. If we stop spending the money, they're gonna leave.
Yeah, stop spending the money. Like I
don't even know how. Where I work at these guys, they do these like dinner things. They like lunch. And I'll be like, dang, why they can't do this all the time? Because I would surely buy from them. You know what I mean? When I don't bring lunch, it'd be stuff like that. But if we stop spending our money and work with the people to better their business ethics that look like us and our communities, and not rob the people that want to put businesses that look like you in those communities or you gonna go in there and kill up every John, Juju, and Peanut in the shop. We might can have something here, but a lot of us don't want to put the money in there because you won't rob Ling and them, but you'll rob us.
Ham Radio makes a point. There are so many grant opportunities that we neglect. There is funding for us, but we miss those deadlines. Also, we have to tighten up our business like Coke. Yeah, you're right. And that's when this is why.
Hold on. Can I say something before we go to break? Because I do got a good one for that. I'm sorry, Boscoe.
No,
so the issue. Okay, let me flip my script and let me go into my business hat. What I will say, as a person who have done grants, who have done proposals, who have done certain things, and especially working for low income communities, what I will say, a lot of times those same people in those communities don't even know about those grants. It's not that it's publicized. You got to know where to look and who to research. What I will say is they won't tell you it's there. Even if you call around and ask, they won't say, yeah, we got this money, go ahead and apply. You gotta really know somebody who knows somebody that's gonna plug you in, like, yeah, you know they do this. Because I'm gonna tell you, even when it comes down to certain resources let me tell you, even when it comes to online, if I'm not looking on a certain website, I'm not gonna find it. So again, which goes into we gotta educate. So it may be something that I don't know. I might not even look to go to this particular website. I may be looking on something that's more generalized and much more public. And that information is not going to be there because sometimes it's a matter of a link to another website. So I've met people along my journey that be like, hey, and they also got this. They're like, for real, I never even known that. And I might have did a partnership for another company with them for years. And I never even knew certain fundings was available. And mind you, I used to work with people and trying to get resources for people in poverty communities. So a lot of the times the resources that I found out was about, literally, I'm not going to say by accident, but it came from me networking and really talking to people and being accepting of the information that was given. And once I took that one and they was like, oh yeah, she really trying to do something. You get what I mean? And it was like, then it started pouring in. But we also got to teach our people how to communicate and network. Yep. A lot of us want to do these things, but we don't know how to have certain kind of you can't go in there and be like, where that shit at? That's that's how a lot of us talk, right?
Yeah.
Instead of saying, hey, you know what I mean? So a lot of times, granted, we can stay true to ourselves, but a lot of times we also got to present ourselves like we really want this information. And also present ourselves says a lot.
You know what? And we're getting close to the break. That's why when Obama was president, and people said Obama didn't do nothing, I said, look, did you pay attention to what he did? What did he do? I said, he put some in there for grants, small business grants. I said, but you know what? Black people pay more attention to what he didn't do for black people than looking to see what he actually wrote. My daughter got it. That's how she got her stuff started. He had a small business thing in there and I like, if that didn't say black people all over it, but nobody paid attention. Well, it ain't for black people. He's not going to write, this is for black people. You know? And he did. And I see so many black people get their thing started because of that. While these knuckleheads on Facebook, oh, he ain't doing it for black people. No, because you don't read and you don't research. You know? That's it for me till we go to the break.
This was so good. I wish I could stay. But listen.
That's a good first hour, though.
It was a good first half. We got to take a short, what is it, Rich? I'm sorry, 5 minutes? Is it 5 or what we doing today?
8
so
minutes.
We're going to take a quick break. Ham Radio got to pay the bills. So we're going to take a quick, we're going to be back in 8 minutes. We're going to continue this conversation. We also want to have the conversation about ownership, farming, and some other things we got good coming up. But this was good, and we will continue this. So I hope you guys tune in. I will give you the alert. Go ahead, take a bathroom break, refill your glasses, and we will be back.
Whoever comes to America comes to build a cultural empire. Everyone except African Americans. So when you travel the country, you got a little Italy in every major city.
Right.
You got a Chinatown in every major city. You see, you even see little Cambodias popping up now around the United
Martin
States.
Luther King in every city too.
Exactly. Well, you
Ain't
got
no black people living on
you
it.
got a Martin Luther King Jr. Street.
Yeah, street.
You have a Martin Luther King Jr. Street,
Right.
but there's no Africa town. There's no place in Black America you can go and find the 4 essential institutions needed for a community: bank, school, supermarket, hospital. And you know why that's ironic? Last year, Black America in 2016, we spent $2 billion on Air Jordans, $4 billion on liquor and alcohol, $600 million on fast food, and we bought twice the amount of Mercedes Benzes as white America, although white America has twice the wealth of black folk. So the question becomes, what is it about the Mercedes Benz that makes it so attractive to African Americans even when they can barely afford it? And it's because it's a status symbol.
That's all.
And one thing we know about oppressed people, when you can enjoy true freedom, you surround yourself with the symbols of that freedom.
Absolutely.
And that's why the Louis bag is so important. That's why our children will kill for Air Jordans. It's not the sneaker, it's what it represents. And if I believe I'm worthless, that means I can only add value to myself by what I put on my body as opposed to what I put in it.
How do we stop that? How do we?
Let's go to college. We all went to college. Remember in
Not me.
college?
Well, not mine. As
Okay,
well.
but you've been on campuses, and you notice how fly the black undergraduates dress, right?
Right.
But then when it come time to pay that tuition, half of them got to take off a semester because they ain't got the money.
Right.
But look how you drive, and
No,
look how
we
you.
didn't jive.
Because in most
It's
places now,
very
you went to a
I
HBCU.
went to Hampton. You know, the females dressed up and then the fellas
Exactly.
dressed up. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It was what it was.
And I remember we had a financial aid seminar by the director of admissions. And he said, I don't understand y'all. He said, y'all got money for chains, y'all got money for Powerhouse, y'all got money for Jordans, y'all got money for nice cars, but you ain't got the money to pay your tuition. And you know what that's about? It's about priorities. I was at a home ownership seminar, and guess what the white guy said? He was from a bank, and he was honest. I agreed with him. He said, listen, it's not always about racism, although that was incorrect. But the point that he made next was correct. He said, the problem is when y'all come to us for a loan, when African Americans walk into a white bank for a loan, what normally disqualifies you isn't even your credit so much or your employment history. It's your priorities. You often buy your car before you buy your house. Even if you have a half decent income, if you already bought the caddy truck, the Benz, the Mercedes, and you're coming to look for a home after the car, I know that if you fall into tough economic times and you have to make a decision between your mortgage or your car note, you're going to pay your car note first.
Yeah, because I ain't bringing people over to the house, but they going to see me pulling up all the time. So
Exactly.
I got to keep that truck, man.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, people ask me, what can we expect from a Donald Trump White House for Black America? And the answer is real simple. You can expect exactly what you got from a Obama White House. Absolutely nothing. See, the Obama years, and it's our fault, not Obama's, because we took a time out from political social agitation, we created an atmosphere in America where it's safe to ignore black people because black people voluntarily ignored themselves for 8 years.
You know why? Because Barack was that caddy truck. He was a symbol.
He was the symbol.
And we was happy with the symbol.
Without substance. And that's our problem. Now remember, right after Trump got elected, it was a women's march. Remember that? A lot of the same white women who put Trump in office turned around and marched. It wasn't because they were against Trump. Remember, after the Dr. King assassination, America decided on a social policy of never allowing the black agenda to be primary ever again. So whenever a president is elected, they automatically give them a non-black minority issue that will pretty much define their campaign. So with Barack Obama, it was the LBGT. So when he got elected, he went to war for the LBGTs as a way to eclipse our issues. As soon as Donald Trump got elected, you had the Women's March. So they're making it, and you had the immigrant situation right after that. So the minority issues during the Trump administration is going to be female issues and immigrant issues. No time for black. Here's the situation. Until we hate racism more than we hate each other, nothing's going to change. See, our problem is totally mental. We're $1 trillion people. We got all the degrees we need, all the expertise. But you know what we're lacking? That cultural commitment to ourselves. We're the only group who don't have
I
it.
was gonna say that it almost feels like before we could fight racism, we have to fight self-hate.
Yeah, you're going to have a civil war.
Because we don't necessarily support ourselves. You know,
Not at all.
We don't help each other.
We're
We don't look for each other.
anti-African.
And a lot of times when, you know, it's difficult because it always seems like it's always a scheme. It's always something like
We don't trust each other.
You got two major issues supporting exactly what you said: an identity crisis and psychological homelessness. An identity crisis. Black people know they're not American. but they will fight like hell to protect that identity because they don't want to be identified with who they really are, and that's being African. We hate our Africanity. That's exactly why when I created the Unapologetically African movement, you see how quickly it morphed into Unapologetically Black. I never said unapologetically Black. I said unapologetically African. But even within the Black consciousness community, we are still anti-African because deep down within our subconscious, we were all conditioned by the same superstructure that made us feel that Africa wasn't anything worth claiming. So the Blackness is a step away from whiteness, Envy,
right?
But it's still 10 steps away from your Africanity.
Raised like that, as a kid, I'm not gonna say my parents, but you always know when you get out the hood, you're doing well. When you live with the white folks, you're doing well.
Exactly.
When you have a lawyer and your lawyer's white, you're doing well. When you have a white accountant, you're doing well. That's
so your standard of excellence is outside of your community.
Absolutely.
And we're the only people who have a standard of excellence, an ideal to achieve, that was created by our oppressors.
There's a group mob. It's like liberal Nazis that will go up and attack you. Like I said, everyone's like, Anna Wintour's your friend. I'm like, this Gabby girl and Gigi and these people, they would have never said anything negative unless they got the okay from Condé Nast, unless they got the okay from Anna. They would have never got the okay to comment. Like, let's just talk about specifically.
So these are people who are attacking you for your T-shirt.
Well, it was a setup. It started off as, them having this black girl comment and say, well, I felt traumatized when I saw this T-shirt. It's like this, a black girl saying, I felt traumatized when I saw a black man wearing something that he wasn't allowed to wear. It's like in Django when Jamie Foxx is on top of a horse and Samuel Jackson's like, that black guy's not supposed to be on top of the horse. Okay. And then I went and said, hey, I don't like your boots. I know Anna Wintour doesn't like your boots and you're not a fashion person. And then people started to say I was a bully, but it was a setup. And they finally got it, right? Because I eliminated the BLM officer at Adidas. And then I got out of the Gap deal. And just one by one, I've been winning these battles, right? And they thought they had me. They had the idea that Ye was bullying, what I think the liberal term is a body goes black woman. Now let's talk about Gabby and my good friend Lizzo. Lizzo works with my trainer, a friend of mine, Harley Pasternak. When Lizzo loses 10 pounds and announces it, the bots, that's a term for people like, it's like telemarketer callers, like on Instagram, they attack her for losing weight because the media wants to put out a perception that being overweight is the new goal when it's actually unhealthy. Yes. Let's get aside the fact of whether it's fashion and Vogue, which is not. Let's just, or if someone thinks it's attractive, to each his own. It's actually clinically unhealthy. And for people to promote that, it's demonic.
What can I ask?
Yeah.
I've noticed also.
Yeah.
Why do you think they would want to promote unhealthiness among the population?
It's a genocide of the black race. They want to kill us in any way they can. Planned Parenthood was made by Margaret Sanger, a known eugenics with the KKK, and I believe that if we saw ourselves as a people and not a race, then we would treat our people better. Like if you go to a Jewish person and you say a race, it almost gets confusing. They'll cut you off quickly and say, we're not a race, we're a people. Well, our people are supposed to just say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Okay, well, what about, do you own the land that you're living in? Do you own, is the contracts even in a language that's even possibly understandable,
Right.
you know, for your heritage, you know. And in America, we as blacks will like down each other on how good we speak, but we're speaking English. There's nothing whiter than English, not in our native tongue, actually. So we judge each other on white goal lines, not based on exactly what our culture is based on.
Subscribe to the Fox News.
Hey y'all, welcome back. Oh my, get in here already. I ain't.
Okay, let me do this. All right, welcome back for the second hour of the Casual Convo Show. Again, we are still having the conversation about topics that affect the community, personal, and business relationship. We also have that. We always have that casual convo, so you don't have to have a tough convo. We got an open discussion right now. We got the host Coco in the building. We got me, Boscoe, and we got the general, Mr. Magic Mike Taylor in the building.
Hold up, Mike. Hold up, Mike. Mike, Big Mike Taylor. Right. Mike, Michael. You know, yes. I gotta do a disclaimer with you.
All right, go ahead.
You know, I love you to death, Mike. But listen, we gonna be good.
Yeah,
we're gonna have a real conversation. I'm not gonna go on a rant. Yeah, Mike already know. I already know it's gonna be interesting. But can I say one thing about I'm glad that clip was played because for several different reasons. He's touched on a lot of things in that clip. I didn't fully disagree with this one. However, what I do want to say when it goes according to obesity, as a plus size woman, I consider myself big. I'm not going to sit up here and stunt and act like I'm the perfect body type. I'm not. But I think the delivery on how we address obesity in our community, and also when it comes to body type, especially in the charts that like most of our doctors' offices use. And I think I want to say it's safe to say, coming from working in the healthcare field, a lot of those charts are not solely for us. Our body types are a little bit differently. I'm not making excuses. However, what I will say, I think how we tackle and address the issue of obesity, healthy lifestyles, healthy eating, and all of these things, I don't think being negative and insulting is the way to address it. I don't think, not saying that that's what he did. I'm just talking about generally. I think there's a way that we can approach this. Even for myself, it's acknowledgeable about things that we should do, but also I think the bigger conversation to be had is accessibility and resources and financial resources as well when it comes to having a healthy lifestyle. Let's just keep it a buck. When it comes to certain communities, and I know y'all gonna chime in and correct me if I'm wrong. Our food sources in certain communities, especially in the cities, is not great. Also, to eat healthy is also expensive. Whereas though to eat unhealthy is inexpensive. It's less costly to eat or to purchase fruits and veggies, right? So then we had the conversation about when he mentioned like farming and all of those things. So I did want to touch on, we do always talk about Black people need to own properties. We need to own our shit. But we don't talk about the Black community owning land, owning soil that you can grow on. I'm not talking about weed, y'all. I'm talking about grow your fruits, your veggies, your herbs, your spices, and all of these things. And I think that's a much needed conversation that we can have to bring awareness to that. I also want to touch on what did I say? Dang, it's right on the tip of my tongue. Why do I keep doing this? I think it's this drink my daughter gave me. But I also I said ownership, but I also wanted to talk on just about overall awareness, and we also need to incorporate climate change. But before Mike go, I also want to talk about the importance of being aware of what's going on in the world and how even with the war on Ukraine, with Russia and Ukraine is also affecting us here, and it's also affecting us in our communities as far as like oil, produce, goods, and all of those things that's needed for survival, and how we need to get in survival mode, not just only when it comes to violence, but survival as far as our food sources, our natural resources. So that's the conversation that I really want to have in this half, but I also want to piggyback on and get Boscoe and Mike's views on finishing the conversation from before we went to the break, because I felt like we were really touching on some things, and I would like to give you guys the floor. Mike, we only got an hour. I know you're gonna take about 45, but try to minimize it to 5 per, you know.
Yeah, per thing. Yeah, I'm good for the day.
I love you, Mike, but we got set the ground rules with you.
Yes. So
And hold on. Before we start, the views and opinions of Mike Taylor does not reflect the views of Casual Konvo or Boscoe or Hand Radio, Hand TV, or handradio.org. They are solely on Mike Taylor.
I don't know. They might be with me too. So you might want to add me
depends.
with Mike's opinion. So
It depends. I'm gonna let y'all know.
Hey, where you want to start at?
Wherever you want to start. I just wanted to give a general sense of where we want to go, because I know, Mike, you'll drag your shit out for 35 minutes.
No. I can run this up because I'm in the process of buying some land. So we can run this up. So let's talk about the illusion that we didn't own land. So after 1865, African Americans own 1.5 billion acres of land. Okay. We were the biggest ownership in land. Now what they did was they came up with the credit system and the borrowing system. They ended up raising the goods, the seeds, and all that, and we ended up borrowing more than what we produced. That's how we lost our land. That's how most people did. And the other half is just how they did with Colombia. Was no jobs out there. They offered industry. When they did that, most people left Colombia, sold their land, and moved to Baltimore because Bethlehem still had opened. This happened all around the world except in Durham, North Carolina, which was the first Black Wall Street. So we've always owned land. This is the trick that they have for us now. So you can't technically own land. You can lease land. You can't own any land now. There is no land to be owned. And if we're talking like you want to own some land, then you do what Iran does. You go to Africa and you buy some land. You go to Indonesia and buy land. I think Black people within themselves don't know that the whole world is for sale. Now when it comes to food sources, especially when it comes to inner city, there's things called food deserts that's actually designed for you to go and shop at your local corner store. You can look at that Sandtown, Winchester, and the only grocery store you got is Shoppers. If they close Shoppers down, then the food stores go bye-bye. That's why they brought in Shoppers after closing down Stop Shop and Save in Mondana. And when you don't have reliable transportation and you don't have the community looking at it as detriment, because the same things that the people go to Sam's Club and bring into their corner stores, they hike up the price, you go and buy. And so let's address this concept of eating healthy. There's no such thing. Black people eating healthy since the day that we got here. Our food is the healthiest here. The problem is that we're not doing the work that the food requires. So you can't sit there and eat macaroni.
Can you explain and elaborate? I know where you're going with it, but can you explain that, please?
Okay, so you eating macaroni and cheese every day and you're not outside working in the field, don't make any sense. So it's all about portion control.
Don't judge me.
No, listen. And then
right.
Then you gotta look at the Black family, how it was made. So majority of the time when you ate big meals, you ate it with a big family. As in, my grandmother had 13 kids. So you eat it with a big family. And everybody was in the South, so they went out and worked. I learned how to plow, how to grow crops, and dig ditches and stuff like that. So we're not working that hard. So our food has become a delicacy for everybody else. You go down to Miami, boy, they love Trick Daddy food. Cubans line up for miles. So our food isn't bad, and we aren't the unhealthiest people in the world. We're actually the healthiest people here. I think when we start focusing on what the media only shows, then you think majority of the black people are fat. It doesn't have that type of thing. What it is that they putting more sugar in food to preserve it. I know because I used to be a diabetic. So they putting more, that's how they preserve food. They use dextrin and they use multi-dextrin. But if I show you it, you don't think it's sugar until you look it up. That's how they use to preserve food. So you imagine and you cooking some fish from Murray's and it's tons of sugar. But when you look at
salt
the
too.
yeah, when you look at the package, it's only 13%. Why we got high blood pressure isn't because we're taking in a lot of salt. We're taking less potassium in.
Mm-hmm.
So this how this works, Sam. Is bread used to have iodine. They took that out. Iodine was in bread. You lived a long time eating it. So it's just not us, it's everybody. It's basically population control. So it doesn't actually affect just one community, it affects a lot of us. That's why gastro bypass surgery has become relatively popular.
Oh, hold on. Can I stop you for a second? Couple of things.
Hey, let me say one thing before you do.
Go ahead.
Mike made a point about what we eat, and we don't like eating the macaroni. Even eat with rice and stuff, starchy, carbohydrates. We eat it, but we gotta burn it. We don't burn it. We eat. Like if you go to a buffet bar, do you eat because you're hungry, or do you eat because you like what you're eating?
Mm-hmm.
Like one thing I had learned in Islam, you eat for nutrition. You don't eat just to get full. You eat for nutrition. And we eat and eat and eat, but we're not burning. We're not working out. We're not exercising. We're not working in the yard. We're not doing this and doing that. We're just eating. Oh man, I have so much to eat, and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I want to piggyback. I'm gonna take it a step further. I also think it's how we make our foods. I'm gonna go a little bit deeper because I know we like to stay on the surface of things. You know, I like to go a little bit deeper below level. So one thing I would want to say is we also gotta understand, even though when it comes to eating healthy, we also gotta understand foods have changed tremendously. When I say that is because yes, a lot of things have been overly processed for preservation, whatever you want to call it. It's not really organic. Even organic foods are being processed now. So not only do we have those additives and everything else added to the foods that we purchase that's supposed to be healthy, how we prepare the foods, the portion, you are absolutely correct. We get overfull sometimes, and we don't, and then we call it the itis. But I also think the other piece that I wanted to go into when I was talking about land and farming, we also got to understand. I think that the part of understanding your food is also to understand the climate change, what's going on with global warming. I'm like a geek when it comes to certain things. I don't know if people pay attention to. Lately, everybody been paying attention to the moon? So for several days and several times throughout the last couple of weeks, the moon has become bigger, and you can see it looks lower. And at some points, we've always seen the moon high, look like it's really far away, but it look like it's right there above the trees, right? So then when we look at the atmosphere, how rain, hurricanes, snow, sunshine, all of these things affect a lot of things, and we're not paying attention to these things, and we're also not paying attention to what we do and the amount of agriculture that happens when, like Mike, you mentioned how in the inner cities they completely tear down. We see it, especially in Baltimore. I mean, I can't speak on other places because I'm not there. I can speak on Baltimore. Condos and stuff are building everywhere. So they're tearing down the trees and resources, and they're putting up trees that we don't even need, that does not give us oxygen and certain things that our foods need to feed off of to grow, so that we can grow foods that have its proper nutrients. So I think the reason why I wanted to mention climate change and agriculture and our food sources, and also with all of these things with the war and all of this stuff, is because we think these things don't affect us, but it does. We see food prices, food gouging, but a lot of these things are really pretty much man-made, as you mentioned. But I think it's also important for us to educate ourselves on how we can grow our own stuff, so we know what we're getting. And it's homegrown. We might need to educate ourselves on what's good soil, what's bad soil. And even when it comes down to land ownership, yeah, we buy properties, but if you think about it, people who own, like, I think you mentioned it a couple of shows ago, Mike, agriculture for us, like owning land where you can farm on and do certain things. We're not thinking that big yet, but I think it's important to educate our people on the importance of not only just owning a property, but owning a property with land, but also being able to identify the soil on that land. Because if we look at the rate of how things are going, that's going to be a matter of our survival. And we're the less educated on areas like that.
Are you ready? Okay, so
this dude's stretching.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about land. I mean, we're gonna talk about soil and the resource that you need to grow food.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Morocco is number one, and they own phosphorus. So phosphorus helps you grow food even in the desert. They are number one. They'll probably be the next superpower in about 2 years because they literally can stop. Actually, they did in 2019. They stopped the United States from getting export to phosphorus, so they couldn't farm. You actually need that. That is the only thing that's the only thing that makes food grow. Okay, this is something that I looked into 4 years ago. Still looking into it now. I'm trying to get my export license. The United States will have a commission with you, and you will be escorted by somebody from the internal affairs and all this other stuff for you to actually go into Morocco and actually buy phosphate at it raw because it can be used as a bomb too. So, and you have to pay a tax to bring it into the United States. So, the second country that has the many deposits is Russia.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the two. So these are the two people who have the ability to grow food everywhere.
And they cut us off. Go ahead.
Yeah, in 2019, they definitely cut us off. This was in the news.
Right.
They actually did it because they was mad at the sanctions that they put on Iran.
But can you speak on that? Because I don't think, I'm only asking this. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I really want you to touch on this because I know you're going to keep going. And I just want to get you to speak on that. Because what I notice is a lot of times when we talk about different things that's going on in the world, we tend to think, oh, that shit, it don't matter. It don't matter. They're going to do what they're going to do. But I think it's important for us to be aware of what's going on so we know how we need to move and how we need to get right.
All right, so like right now, I think Iran is going through the women their rights and all of that. So that also affected the United States. So to keep the United States from not interfering, OPEC decided to cut back on the barrels of oil that the United States can buy, which caused the gas prices to hike up again. So if we're gonna look at it, because the artist Jadena said this on I don't want to plug the show, but it's the Breakfast Club. But he even said it like African Americans, Black people have a local. You can move anywhere in the world. We don't have a expat. We don't have a international thinking. So we only focus on where we at, not understanding that you can move anywhere. Like right now, you want to talk about buying some land. Spain is got land for sale, no taxes. They're trying to get rid of all of the Moorish castles. You know who the Moors are? They Black people. They're the Black people who own Spain from 711 to 1492. So, and they have towns that are dying because what they're not telling you is that the European is dying at an alarming rate around the world. But they have villages. Greece have a village that if you move in, they will pay you to live there. So, looking at it from a worldview, we don't actually have to really do business here. Most countries don't. Most countries actually, like in Ethiopia, Kuwait and them did a deal with them to grow their food, and then they transport it from there. So when we focus on where we at, and we're talking about the continental United States, if you talk about everything else, like you can move to Guam, the American Samoans, you can move into the United States Virgin Islands. We don't actually think about that as America. Puerto Rico and all of that. We don't really see that as America. We tend to focus on the limited land that they have here.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about land, it's a world thing. Minister Farrakhan said the United States is for sale, but the world is for sale. And it doesn't take 1 million people to go get it. The 19 families that end up buying some land in Alabama or Georgia, it took 19 people to raise like $1.5 million. As Black people, we should be ashamed because it shouldn't take that many people in order to start a town. But psychologically, Black people has also been scarred not to actually go out and build towns. You got Rosewood, you got Tulsa, Oklahoma, you got Wilmington, Delaware. So you have fear of people trying to actually build for Black people. And there's something that we as a people is going to have to be the first to do, because this is a terrifying fact. They're not making movies. They didn't make the movie Rosewood to inspire you. That showed they really burned down this town. Like if you go to Florida, there's nothing there. My great grandmother helped the kids off the train then. So, and she the one that told us, like they came to Gainesville. Everybody ran to get the kids off. There was no men on there. And so, what has happened is we as a people have a trauma. We have a psychological trauma of doing for self on a large scale because of what only the simple history that they teach you. And so, like, think about it. Like, what, 5 years ago, people never heard of Tulsa, Oklahoma. You know, you got people right now that didn't even know Durham, North Carolina was the first Black Wall Street. You know what I'm saying? So, go ahead, because I can go on for days about this.
You're right.
We know.
You're right. Because
I
have an article on my blog with all that on there, and people were like, "No," I said, "No, Wilmington was first. Wilmington," and they think like Tulsa was the only one. I said, Tulsa is not even scratching the surface. That's just the most well-known one. But
you even got towns that was flooded. They flooded towns and lakes. You look up the lakes, they are Black towns at the bottom of these lakes.
Yes.
So it's traumatizing. When people talk about owning land, you know how fearful mentally we are. It's not even a physical thing, because most Black people are scared of anything. But it's the history that when you find out, you know what I'm saying, that they flooded Black towns. That the Klan came in and ran you out, burned and did all this stuff, and then they flooded your town into a lake. It's a lake in Georgia that people drown every year, and they got a whole blog on Facebook that says, "Don't go to this lake. We keep trying to tell y'all the lake is haunted." The man did a dive on YouTube. It's a Black church at the bottom of this lake, so it's
yeah,
I don't know.
Real quick. I'm not to cut y'all off, but in order to get there, y'all know I'm low key a geek, and like I said, I'm not a surface level type person. You know, I like to dig deep, and I know Mike could go off about he'd go astray, and then we gotta bring him back. So before we get to buying the land, buying all of these things, we got to understand agriculture, climate change, and the challenges of climate change. So in order to have the land, we got to know how to take care of the land. So the reason why I think climate change is important, it's a lot of things that's happening in this world that us as a community, I'm not even going just limited to Black people. I just think it's a lot of people don't understand the effects that climate change and how bad climate change is, even down when it comes to our natural resources, not only just oil, but if we look at our oceans, which 70 to 80% of the earth, right?
Yeah, undrinkable
So
water.
when we think about it, and even when you say the world is for sale, it's certain parts of the world that's not even discovered yet. Let's just keep it real. They still finding oceans and all of this stuff. However, when you look at the climate and you look at certain things, we like, oh my God, it's not this, is that, and the third. And I'll be like, oh, it's just like we just like summer just left and then we went straight to winter. Whatever we say. But we're not understanding. And I brought up the moon to be very distinctive of acknowledgement, because usually we have to wait for certain times. And it was a couple of weeks ago, it looked like an eclipse. It was like an Auburn. It was like the sun, but it was like for hours. It never lasted that long. So I understand. Forgive me. follow me here. We all know how the earth rotate and the atmosphere and all of those things change. But we also got to pay attention to other planets and stuff like that, because the atmosphere on these other planets are changing as well at a rapid pace, more rapidly. Right. And we also got to understand, not only does history repeat itself, the climates of how things change also repeat itself too. So the earth is also going through a natural cycle, but we're also speeding that cycle up. But we need to be more aware. So not only when I mentioned the war in Ukraine, we look at the nukes and all of these threats of nuclear weapons and all of these things going, and we talking about the price increase of not only gas, food, all of these things. I will say this, within our communities, we're going to be screwed, because we don't even understand how to survive while being able to go to the store and purchase something. We don't understand about growing. So I know Boscoe is very knowledgeable and has hands-on experience when it comes to growing and things like that. So I felt like that piece was really important, because like I said, I try to have this conversation with a lot of people. People can consider it boring or whatever you want to do, but these things are really, really important. Fuck who got killed last week. Fuck what happened on YouTube, Instagram, and all of that shit. We need to deal with what's going on here. We think things don't have a direct impact on how it affects us. It really does, and it affects our kids, our future, because everybody else is picking up on it but us. We so busy trying to get at the dude across the street, but we not realizing, yeah, we all trying to eat, but we really going to be trying to eat.
No, listen,
you know something?
Because y'all making it bigger than what it is. So it's a black.
No. Hold. Wait a minute.
Listen.
No.
Before you both say something, I want to make a point.
Go ahead.
On my Facebook wall, I had posted vegetables you can grow in your house year round. I got 0 views. I might have got 2 or 3 views. As soon as I post something ratchet, my shit was like
went up,
blowing. I was like, damn. It's on you, General.
All right, so
no, Mike. Hold up. Before you
we're gonna deal with.
I know, but hold on, because I know you're going to take me to the end of my show. Listen to me.
No, I'm not. I'm just talking about the black scientist. His name is.
I did that, but you said we tend to make things bigger than what it is. It is very bigger than what it is. And hear me out when I say that, because when we make statements like that, we make it seem like it's not important. But we also got to get out of the frame of mind of looking at things that just taunt our own vision and think outside the box of what we think it is. So this is major for our survival.
All right, let me tell you. So it's a black scientist. His name is Neil Tyson. Please look him up. He's actually the renowned
Degrassi.
Yeah, Degrassi. We had Tyson, Degrassi Tyson. So let's be clear about this. So this is what he said in all the findings, right? The ocean levels is supposed to rise. They went down a couple million years ago. Cool. The naval planetarium has a map of where all the flooded areas will be, right? We're not worried about space, period, because the Earth sped up anyway, and there's nothing that we can control that, period. Our gravitational pull has shifted, so there's no need to worry about that. The moon within itself is going to end up turning red because it was an explosion by 2 suns that collided earlier this month. Okay, we don't stop that. We miss asteroids hitting the Earth every day.
Right. You're smart, Mike. I didn't know you was that smart.
Yeah, I study science. This is what I am. So, so we're not worried about that. Like, what you're worried about is if they can get the SpaceX, which they launched 2 days ago, and they fired 2 satellites in the air. What you're worried about is the space station that China, the United States, Russia, and Germany now help build, and Japan helped build. It has been building for about 3.5 years. So we're not even worried about nuclear war, because it's always been a threat. The only person that ever used any nuclear warheads or any war tactics was the United States. We are on an Earth that is 70% water that's undrinkable. So our survival has been limited, period. Now, when we talk about us like cultivating land, eating, and all that type of stuff, Black people have been farming since the beginning of time. The only difference is they blocked us out of farming. Like, In 1980, they have a lawsuit right now that to go against the Department of Agriculture for blocking black farmers out of getting the necessary loans and seeds and all of that. Now, what has happened is, because I'm in the black farmers group, so I can speak on it on Facebook. What black farmers have understood is that the way to end up getting your farming equipment and stuff is to go into marijuana, which they tried to block us. Okay, so marijuana helped us to be able to cultivate our land and also put the nitrates that you need back into the soil. So hemp has always helped.
Smoke?
No, hemp.
Oh.
The plant is hemp.
Yeah, you gotta be Pacific, Mike. You gotta be Pacific.
Before it's marijuana, is hemp. Okay, the plant for marijuana is called hemp. Okay, hemp was only outlawed because Rockefeller said that they can make cheaper paper out of it, so they blocked it. Nothing was wrong with hemp; it just was a cheaper product in order to make it legal. So they end up tying hemp in with marijuana, but hemp is the original plant. It's just hemp. Hemp turns into marijuana after you dry it and all of that. Okay, cool. So our biggest concern is not about farming. It's about being able to find land that's not occupied, find islands that are now not already brought. Because what they don't tell you is that rich people buy islands almost every day. But that's what makes Jay Prince the most dangerous black person in the world, because he owns an island.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I didn't know that, but I know.
Yeah, so we have allies, like Belize is our ally right now for the black community right now. You follow Tariq Nasheed and you follow Dr. Boyce Watkins, you'll see that everything that you're talking about, we all are looking into, because we know how to grow food.
Can I ask you a question, Mike?
Sure.
Do you know who Dr. Sadagaru is?
Yeah.
Do you follow him?
Yeah, he on my YouTube. I got everybody. On my
No. I asked that because I listen to him every day, and the reason why, I'm big on my meditation and the whole spirituality thing. So I do.
You fast?
Yeah, I do. I'm listen to me. I'm going where I'm going with it. So I like his segments. He did like a series on soil and how to utilize your natural resources around you for like survival, nutrition, and even for life balance. So I think the conversation that I wanted to have was the importance of not just survival, but balance spiritually, mentally, and everything like that. Because when we talk about food, when we talk about what's going on, we talk about climate, all of these things affect our mood, affects how we move, affects how we live. So a lot of times, even still, when they say be one with nature, and they always say, you got to walk around. Sometimes it's good to go outside with your
right. That's supposed to do.
To be in tune with nature and to be grounded with energy. So when we talk about our energy fields and things like that, to become one with your energy and to become whole with yourself internally, you need to be at one with nature. And nature is what your surroundings are. So it's good to have peaceful surroundings and understand what it is. And that's why I say when we talk about our peace and certain things, we channel that and bring it in. So when we talk about our environments, like we talked about the whole show, we consume that energy. So I always tell people, whatever your surroundings are is what you become. So when people are like, oh, and I be like, oh, I don't want to be here, I don't want to be there. It's not that I'm thinking I'm this is in a third. It's when you reach a certain level of peace. I need to be at his level of peace. But you see what he's around. He's around a bunch of trees, rich in certain things and like that. But soil is just not for growing, but a whole bunch of other things. But that's a whole nother show. But go ahead, Mike.
All right, so listen. So if you ever watch how hip hop was changed, right?
Oh, here we go.
So it was. So hip hop. So the hip hop beat was changed. When they changed it from like the high C to the 808 beats, they say it was vibrating on the low vibration, which actually caused us to be more violent and draining. The 808 beat segment, they said, is the reason why most of us walk around depressed, because music really helps heal the soul. Mm-hmm. And so when you talk about our surroundings, majority of our surroundings is based on music. It's not really based on anything else. Like majority of the time, Black people are what they call eclectic people. We more or less listen to jazz, which is operated at a high volume. Jazz is the blues, the opera, which we made, which people think white people made. We made it. The first American opera was created by us.
Mm-hmm.
So our music volumes have changed. So when people are like, yo, I'm operating on the lower frequency, all you gotta do is change.
Mike, I'm sorry.
Like,
where you going with this? You done took us all off to what we was.
No, I mean, you got into the spirituality, the vibe, the nature.
I was just saying because he speaks about the soil, and I asked because when you was talking about the other people, I think for me, I'm gonna just say this. I think a lot of things he don't just touch on that with the soil. He talks about the importance of soil and what we do to destroy the soil. He also goes into climate change, but he also goes into what we do as human beings on this earth. We are literally destroying and speeding everything up at a rapid pace. But
you gotta understand them. The human is the only person don't live within nature. We are the parasite on earth. We are the parasite. We eat, we devour. If that land is burned, then we move.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's why when you talk about humans, we travel a lot. That's why Black people are found everywhere in the world.
I slightly disagree. I think it's more so greed. I think it's we let money.
Not before money. It was the same way. You had migrations. You had people moving from other areas. You had migration during seasonal times. Like when it got too cold, you moved to where it was winter, and then you created that map within your family. When it got too cold, then you go to the place that you know. Humans operate the same way as ducks.
Can I offer a disagreement to a degree?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, you ready?
I'm here.
Okay, so if we want to go back to ancient times, before technology and everything took this big toll, right? Even when you go into migrating and survival and all of these things, we still utilize nature. So when I say greed and everything came onto, we started to tear down the natural structure of things, which also affects animal life. So not only when we talk about construction and all of those things, so even when you talk about migrating, yeah, you migrated because you needed certain resources, or you used to a certain type of thing, but it wasn't like we were tying down this terrorizing like 8 acres of trees, ruining natural habitats for animals and all of those things. I think as time evolved and technology came, and then when money started to become a thing and riches and all of that stuff, not just gold, diamonds, and all of those things. If you go back in ancient times, if you had gold was a natural resources. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay. So when we started manufacturing money, and when you started doing and making that the matter of goods and I'm gonna just say, because follow me. So when we made it, people pay for natural shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Stuff that's grown from the earth, and like, oh, Bosco got paid me for his water, electric, and all that shit, so he can grow his plants. You got to do that. The more they started capitalizing, we made the value of $1 more than the natural resources that we need to survive. So no matter what people want to do, and I think man-made, especially here in America, which now we depending on so many other countries who don't have all of the same customs. Yeah, they want the dollar, but they not doing as much as we doing. So if this land is rich in oxygen and all of this stuff, we're gonna tear that down, because now we're gonna build a high rise and do all this stuff. But now we still gotta depend on Afghanistan, Asia, and Russia for our oil. So what I'm saying is, if you want to go back, even if you want to take it biblical, they wasn't just tearing it down. They was trading coins, but they was also trading goods that was natural, and they made sure it was still in abundance. Okay, this is here, so I'm not going to let you tear down this, because I need this so that I can make my money. Which a lot of places like Thailand and all of these other places that have great jungles and all of these other places that are very much rich in soil, which is a lot of things that Dr. Sadhguru talks about in his teachings, because we here We will tear that down, but we dependent on that. And see, now we become a crippled nation because we dependent on them for just natural resources that we need because we done destroyed it.
Okay, so let's be clear. The United States has.
Did you lean back and try to come back like you was going to check me though?
Yeah. It's the United States is the number one freshwater delivering country around the world. So we ain't dependent on anything.
Water everywhere.
Water's not everywhere. Look it up. Fresh water's not everywhere. Salt water's everywhere. Fresh water is very, very rare.
Michael.
We are the number one provider of fresh water, thanks to Theodore Roosevelt, which really came up with the conservation.
Water ain't fresh because we just went through the shit with fucking Baltimore, and we got to pay for that.
Now, what he's saying, we have the freshest water.
We have the most.
Look at Brazil. Brazil is messed up.
Yes, no, I mean I get that, but we are like getting there because of the things that we are doing.
We're never gonna get there. Your water is your fresh water is produced in Yellowstone Park.
Okay. Well, can I ask you this? Who controls the water?
Nestle now.
Right. So, getting back to my point, we still depend on people for other natural resources. We don't even have access to what we need because of money, because of the dollar.
No, man, you listen. We're talking worldly now, so now you're talking my life.
Worldly. Okay, think about it.
So I work with
if you don't listen, hear me out. If you don't know how to grow your own fruits and veggies, and you dependent on these other countries for your shit, and according to the sanctions and all of these other wars, as we see, which is going on with gas right now, because where y'all little president go, and they just gave him the middle finger real quick, and now he's trying to go to Venezuela to get oil and all of that stuff. So what I said was, even still with hear me out, when you said, okay, we migrated and did certain things. That was available. That was an available resource. Those resources are not available to us, but we don't even know how to function to have our own shit.
Let me explain.
As a community.
Listen, so America has.
What you say, Boscoe?
I said that's why we need to educate ourselves. Because see, with me, I don't even use tap water. When I grow my stuff, I get mine straight from the sky. Rocks and all that and filter.
But you can't do that. But you can't do that in Maryland. They make it illegal for you to collect rainwater.
Right. Some places you can't do that.
You're understanding. But at the same time, when you look at climate change, it's not even raining the way that it did even 10 years ago. So that's what I'm saying. When we got to talk about climate change and we got to talk about the access to resources, we don't have. We got to wait for somebody to give it to us, or you got to have the money to pay for it.
No, we don't. The United States.
That's why you see farmers all of a sudden. Now, okay, hear me out. All right, riddle me this.
I'm gonna, if you let me answer.
Okay, we'll answer this one to you because, like I said, so when you hear farmers talk about a drought, right, and it doesn't rain, right, they need water, which causes your water bill to go up. So a lot of times, a lot of these farmers and people who have these large sums of land, even people who own homes and who own land, they depend on the rain for their grass and everything, for their flowers and all of this stuff to grow. So when we talk about climate change, and we are doing a lot of things to speed up the fucked upness of our environment based off of how we live in, which is also affecting the climate. So what I'm saying to you is, in order for you to understand climate change naturally, it is about the solar system and how the earth and everything and the planets evolve. But also how we live and how we manufacture is also destroying our land. So when you don't get rain the way that you needed the rain, or seasons where it's an abundance of rain where crops can grow and feed off of things, what do? Because now, like you said, Nestle own the water. That's a fucking natural resource, yo.
Hey, you got companies that own air. It's a lot. So let me tell you about how the United States work. The United States work because we have the largest navy, and we protect every waterways in the world. That's how we actually get all our resources. When it comes to oil, United States have the most deposits of oil. What they want to bring is what they call fracking, and so people were mad about fracking and us drilling offshore.
Should we not be mad about fracking?
No, we shouldn't. Why? Everybody else frack.
Why? Why? What does fracking do, Mike?
So fracking disturb the natural order of the place in the ocean. But everybody fracks. Shell gas
and fracking also produces runoff.
But listen, so did Shell. Shell did fracking. OPEC does fracking. The reason why people would sit here and make a whole big deal about all this other stuff is because they'll say, "Oh well, it'll run off." It will run off.
Why do they frack though? Fracking is to do what? To get oil for what?
Oil.
For what? For the companies, for cars, for all of these other things. Right. So hold on, but fracking also produces runoff. Well, runoff that goes into drinking water, which goes into other things, which goes into farming, which goes into fruits, which goes into
all that
stuff. So fracking is not the greatest thing of all. So yes, fracking is not the bestest.
Listen, this how this works. Okay, listen. We already went to war. We already went to war for oil already. You know what I'm saying?
I'm an innocent bystander right here.
Yeah. We went to war for oil and opium. That's what.
Is that okay? Is that okay?
What you mean? It's always been that way. Well, whoever got the power takes whatever they want. It's not about being okay. It's if you having the ability to do what you want to do.
Yeah, okay, which brings me to my original point at 9 o'clock when we came back. Dependency. So
you're not dependent on anything. If I send an army to your house, I'm not dependent on anything.
I was on your side the whole first thing.
If the neighborhood say Coco got the best cookies in the neighborhood and we got a whole team to go take them. And
no, I'm gonna tell you what Coco gonna do. Coco gonna teach everybody how to bake them fucking cookies.
They don't want to be
no, that's me. But see, that's the problem. So let me tell you something. So when I said that was because the dependency of waiting for other people to give us something that we can.
We're not giving nothing. We're taking everything. We are takers.
Right.
People that live in the United States don't understand that if you live outside of the United States,
you're making me
know that the United States.
You're making me cuss on a Wednesday night. You're making me use profane language on a Wednesday night that I'm trying not to use. And I said I wasn't going to go on a rant. And Boscoe was loving this because he likes to trigger my other piece of me. But what I'm saying to you is
education.
No, okay, hear me out. Well, so what I'm saying to you is you just said, okay, because and they got to get this and we need them to do this. So my thing is we are always dependent on other people and other countries and other things for certain things. I'm not saying everything, but certain things we can do, but we have become lazy to do. So now we need to, as a community, break ourselves out of this laziness and learn how to do some of these things and stop waiting on other people because we're gonna fucking starve. But hold on, no, because I gave you the whole freaking hour. So what I'm saying is we
done. When you're done, let me say something right quick.
I got you, but Mike got on my nerves just now. So what I'm saying to you is
that's because you don't want to know that the United States are takers. Y'all live in this bubble. I don't live in Germany. I don't live in Spain.
Have you been here the last couple of weeks? Have you been here the last couple of weeks? My main thing have been, Boscoe, correct me if I'm wrong. Have I not been talking about accountability? Yeah. Have I not been talking about what we need to do? Fuck what they do. And see, you making me use that word again. No. Hear me out.
Hey,
hear me
Coco,
out.
But we know something you said that's so sexy though.
Yeah. Think about this. The CIA worked so bad to disrupt Venezuela, right? And try to get out the president. The people turn against the president. So now Biden got to go back.
So you're not gonna let me finish? And I said that and let you get all that bullshit out real quick.
Go ahead.
So what I'm saying to you is, fuck them people. What I'm saying to you is this. We have become, as a community and as a race, now I'm gonna speak to my black people. We have become so dependent on other people to do shit for us and give us shit that we won't sit there and take the initiative to learn how to do something as simple as growing a vegetable. Let me land though. Let me finish. So we will sit there and do all of this. It's not a fucking lie because
it is. We got 20,000 black farmers. 20,000 black farmers.
Okay, but what are you, Mike? You making me yell.
I think we're talking about the community within
Right.
the community.
So
Black farmers are our community. So
Mike,
you can't say there's a
Mike,
black farmer
Mike,
here in Maryland that you don't know about. You go get your vegetables from y'all. You be right down South Point.
I promise you. Let me finish, and I'm gonna let you finish. And I'm gonna make my point in less than 5 minutes. I grew up in Baltimore, just like you, Baltimore. My grandmother grew up I grew up on Thomas Avenue. My grandmother had a front yard and a backyard. No, I'm lying. She had a backyard because the front part was cement. But in the backyard, she had greens, herbs, tomatoes. My aunt right now lives over on a fucking Noka over there by Mondawmin. She grows tomatoes and all of that shit, but she can grow her own stuff. If she want to fucking sell it, she can go out there and pick that motherfucker. So what I'm saying to you is, instead of us waiting on somebody else to bring us some fucking vegetables and fruit, we can teach each other how to grow that shit and outside on our front porch. Shit, it's people now that do that shit. Look at Boscoe. He on this fucking panel. He do this shit. So you mean to tell me we gotta wait for somebody else to bring us these resources instead of us educating each other and teaching each other how to fucking grow some damn vegetables so we can eat and feed our kids? Well, we don't gotta go to McDonald's and go to this store and get this stuff that been injected and we eating. We don't even know what the fuck we eating right now. I'm trying to tell you that right now.
All right, so listen. So this is how it goes. So
hold on, because Boscoe had wanted to say something. You just stressed me the fuck out, and I'm about yeah.
Well, it's the way I learned how to grow. Like I said, my mother, she lived in housing maybe the last 20 years of her life. She had maybe a little 10-foot spot in her backyard, side of the house. Morena will tell you this, because when she was growing up. My mother grew watermelon. She grew everything. And I looked at her when I got locked. I looked at her dude. I said, wow. When I got locked up, I seen, in prison, you don't really have that. I seen a guy get a styrofoam cup, a little small styrofoam cup. He chopped up a pencil. He took the lead out. He chopped up the wood of a pencil. And he dropped the apple seed in there and watered it. And that thing started growing. And he said, you just have to know what you're using. So when I got out, first thing I did was I threw a seed in my yard and I watched it grow. And after that, I just started getting Dixie cups, little styrofoam cups, and growing stuff. I started growing them in freaking whatever I could find, little cans. Then I went and got me the little 5-gallon buckets, like the pickle buckets. Bless you again. I went and got the pickle buckets and I just filled them up with dirt. And I started growing tomatoes, everything. And I think we need to educate ourselves on how to do these things. And I think we do have people on the other side who say it's a waste of time, but we got to ignore those people. And we got like, I got to agree with Mike with a lot of stuff he said. We have to research. We really have to research and learn what's going on. Because and one of our knocks is we don't want to read. We don't want to research, but
yeah,
it's on y'all.
Yeah, so let me get this clear. Like, so my mother got a whole garden in the backyard. She was in Northeast Baltimore. But my grandmother taught us how to grow. Fine, that's all. She even taught us how to get the buckets like Boscoe, dig holes in it and put it in the ground. That's great. That's great. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can do all of that. The moment that you say that you're trying to sustain a whole community, which is the whole black community, we're talking about in a whole. It's a whole. It is a farmer. If we ever go and listen to 1619 when they interviewed a farmer from Louisiana, and he said that his family had been growing and had they land for years, right? And he tried to go to the Department of Agriculture, and they was blocking him, not giving him his loans, the amount of money. The whole nine that he ended up having to sell his great grandfather's land. So it isn't like we don't know how to grow. Is that we got blocked out of this industry? Like I said, in 1980, the farmers got together and they still fighting it till this day. So you're talking about from 1980 to 2022, they still ain't get a settlement yet. When it was proven that they withheld seeds and all that, and they stopped the farmers from making seed banks and all of that because they didn't give them the money that you needed in order to farm. Okay, so when most people get to talk about farming, they don't understand that it takes way more money to farm. It takes way more money to farm. Like I got in trouble. I got to sit down in South Carolina. I know how to plow. I know how to shuck corn. I know how to turnips, the whole nine. You still need money to buy them seeds. You still need the fertilizer to fertilize the land. It takes about $10,000 just to get fertilizer. So Claude Anderson, so I'm about to finish. Claude Anderson was the Department of Agricultural department here in South Carolina. He said he fought for black people to get all the necessary farming equipment and stuff that they needed. Once he got out of that position, the county themselves blocked. They end up blocking the black farmers for getting what they needed. So this isn't like that we can't do it. Is that the Department of Agriculture will block you? They will block you. It's proven. It's a court case. I'll send it to you. So
I hear you.
Yeah, so when you talk about, well, Mike, yo, let's go, let's start a farm. You got to get the money.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. I said we need to understand the importance of farming and even ownership of land. But what I'm saying is, it don't take nothing. Hold on, it don't. Let me finish. I'm so sorry, Rich. I know I went over, but I gotta get this out. Because Mike, they got me choking and everything. That's not what I said. And, see, and I knew you had it misconstrued. I said what I said. You did. But I said what I said because when it comes to certain things, you can, like, my daughter right now doing an experiment with just trying to grow a pineapple. You know what I mean? Trying to see if we can grow pineapples. It don't take nothing, like Marina said, to get some seeds. You can put that shit in the plant and grow that shit right there. I'm not saying you got to do this. My thing is even starting somewhere is something. But what I'm saying is we won't even start there with just one freaking plant. We're trying to see if we can get it, whereas though we can get it. It's a build-up thing. But my thing is we so quick to knock something, and then we so quick to go to the government. We so quick to go into who ain't doing this and who ain't doing that. When we had the resources.
Because you're looking at, because you say we look at the people.
Mike, please. I mean, no, I'm just saying, just please let me get it out. Because when you do that, it throw me off. No bullshit. So what I'm saying, and you making me cuss, and I'm trying not to cuss. So what I'm saying is, when it comes to that,
when you curse.
I know, but I'm trying to be sophisticated and ladylike because I'm classy beast. But what I'm saying to you is, we have certain resources right now that we can utilize to even try to do something or to grow something to get to that point. We don't know, we don't like it. What I'm saying is, when I say we get lazy as a community, we're the only community that won't do shit for each other or won't do stuff together to make sure we survive and that we not close knit. So when I brought up the stuff about my grandmother, my aunt, I got uncles and stuff who make other stuff. What I'm saying is we won't pass that on to each other and show the next one how to do this. Like Boscoe mentioned, he grows certain stuff, right? So who's to say if I say, damn, bro, so how you do that? He might be like, oh, well, what I did was I grabbed this and grabbed that. I might can write that down and I might can start small. I'm not saying I need an acre of land to do that. Yeah, we do got farmers, and respect to the farmers because we need them. But what I'm saying is, even us, when we got backyards with dirt, we got some water, you can go get some seeds from your little local store, or you can take from a fucking apple or whatever that you have. Most shit got seeds, right? Plant them bitches and see what happens. Maybe try to do it. But what I'm saying is we won't even take the time to do that because we so quick to finger point and not take accountability for where we dropped the ball. Our ancestors ain't dropped the ball. We did.
Hey, Morena can tell you how big my garden got, and I started small. She'll tell you I had so much stuff that I gave a lot to my neighbors. I took them to the little shelter. I took them to the food bank. I had so much stuff that I was just like, here. I was growing freaking cucumbers that they had to be about 1.5 feet long because I grew it myself and I really took care of it. I think, like I said, I think we just need to share information. We need to research.
My blood pressure, though.
No, I
That's why he's
come
here.
from a long line of farmers, so I know.
And I get that. I'm not negating. Let me clear something up. I'm not negating none of that. I get passionate about stuff when it comes to our community. And like I said, I've been saying this for the last couple of weeks. I don't know if you caught the past shows. We get so quick to be like pointing fingers. We the only freaking culture that will point a finger instead of looking at ourselves and taking accountability. Our ancestors ain't do that. They stood 10 toes down to make sure to pave the way. And we were supposed to pick up on something, but somewhere along the way, we lost it. It ain't the government fault. It ain't nobody's fault but our own. Because we dropped the freaking ball. So at some point, we got to pick the ball up. And this is where we work together. And this is why I said we need to have this conversation. I'm kind of glad that you ruffled my little feathers a little bit, because at the end of the day, like I said, I get where you coming from. I'm not saying that anything that you said was wrong, much respectfully, but also respectfully, what I'm saying is there are things that we can do as a community to start the process of having these things. Just imagine if I learned how to grow apples or some collard greens. My neighbor learned how to grow tomatoes. The next neighbor might have learned how to grow some fucking strawberries or some shit, right? We can all work together. We got a whole freaking salad. So if some shit happened and we see it's a recall every day on something, and you never know, little Junebug, little Rick Ross, or somebody might got a cow shit, he might slaughter one of them, and we got some meat.
So let me explain. When you talk about community, I think about like Black people as a whole. This is what you have in the discourse at. When you talk about community, you're talking about your local community.
Okay, no, I'm talking about us as a whole, because it reflects everybody. We just don't work together.
Yeah, so when I talk about as a whole, it's farmers everywhere, right? All the HBCUs are agricultural colleges. That's why they all have an A in it. They're all agricultural. You have Texas Southern A&M, agricultural and mining. Okay, all our HBCUs were created for farming. That's what they were made for. So Morgan State was made for farming. Like,
but you learn how to farm, Mike. But you, I mean, no. Let me take the farming out of it, because I think that's where you losing me. Boscoe. Yep. Okay, would you tell Mike? Okay, get you a little pot, right? Get some dirt. Take this seed. Put some water in it. Water it every little so often. It's gonna grow. Would that make a difference?
No, because what you got.
You said no.
You got no.
You did it for me.
That's not a start.
No, it's two. It's because it's two ways. What you talking about is you're talking about the simple farming. I'm used to greenhouses. You know what I'm saying? I'm used to. I know this real.
We're talking about you. We're trying to get other people to think outside the box and do some stuff.
So what I'm telling you is that we mostly learn as a collective with things that we can touch, feel. Like most Black people attack learners. Like we don't have to read to learn anything. You can take a kid to a farm and actually show them how to farm. The question is, how many parents are going to let their kids go out, either learn how to farm or play football? So it ain't even about the opportunities there. You want to know how to farm? You go down to South Carolina.
Like, well, I'm with Marina. Why this guy be so complicated? It's because Mike is a complicated individual.
I'm not. I'm a realist. I'm as realist as
No. You are making it complicated because you and I get that you going from a wide range perspective. What I'm talking about is we got to start somewhere, right? A lot of us don't have access to go to the farms. A lot of people don't have access to transportation, right? So what I'm saying is, what?
I'm done. These people go
no.
to
Cancun. A lot of people don't even have
Cancun, ain't they taking trips? What do you mean we ain't got access? Stop. People have this. The only thing I don't like about when Black people
hold on.
Like we all poor. Like
I
never been poor.
I know I gotta get ready to close out, but let me just say this, Mike. You ever heard of the saying? You know how people be boxed in sometimes, and we cut off our peripheral vision. Our peripheral vision allows us to see from a wider scope, right?
Yeah, that's why I don't like the tunnel vision. Everything how it's supposed to work.
But okay. So if you don't have a tunnel vision, you can also see there is a community and a group of people That's whether it's local. Every community has a local community, right? So sometimes we got to start somewhere. So what I'm saying to you is, there are people who don't have access to do certain things. So I know somebody, like I said, like a Boscoe, right, that can give me certain information. Okay, yeah, you can't get to. Okay, yeah, your stores ain't got shit. So let me tell you something. This how you might can grow a couple of little vegetables. You make a little salad, a little something. I might can ship you some shit, whatever, right? That's a start. So guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pay it forward to the next person. See, that's the shit that we don't do, that we see other cultures do. They work together to make sure that they good, that they eat, that they grow, and they expand. We don't do that. See, I get where you coming from, but what I'm saying is we got to get in the mindset sometimes of taking accountability and paying it forward, so that okay, if even if it's just you and I, like you're a highly educated man. You got all these resources. You might be like, all right, Coco, listen. Like you send me stuff every day. I read it. I get educated on something I might not know. So that's what I do. I pass it forward to somebody else. So what I'm saying is it has to start somewhere. We have these conversations and we have these debates and we so quick to pass that shit on because we don't want to deal with it because we got all the answers, but we won't get the answers to the next person so that they can grow, that they can be educated in a way and pass it forward to the next person. See, sometimes you got to share the knowledge and share the wealth in order to grow as a community and be uplifted. We can't sit here and talk about awareness and growth and what we want to see our people do, but we won't even help educate our people and tell them where the fuck the cutoff is. It ain't no cutoff because, all right, you ain't got $10,000. Get yourself a little pot at the dollar store. Go get yourself some little dirt. Call somebody like Boscoe. I got this dirt, yo. What I got to do? I got some seeds here. But tell me how to make this motherfucker, bro. I'm hungry.
All right, so listen, so Bosco live in what, North Carolina? So he know that he can go to a farm and ask to volunteer. But with you, like with most, see, this is one thing I learned a long time ago when we talk about our community as a whole. So our community as a whole has levels. You know what I'm saying?
2.5 minutes.
So our community as a whole has levels. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't like even when they say each one teach one, like, yo, you got to reach to certain people that want to grasp the knowledge. If was that the case, then the whole community would be down. You know what I'm saying?
You want to grasp the knowledge if you don't share the knowledge and you want to keep it to yourself and tell them go to the government. What the fuck?
That's not what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's different places that you can go and.
Thank you, Rich. See, that's what we're talking about. Bring stuff to the community. Farmers markets, fruits and veggies for everybody. God damn it! If y'all Boscoe, you gonna ship us some stuff? In fact, Boscoe, you coming?
When is this?
Next year sometime.
I'll come next year for sure.
Yeah, I won't be. I'll be in Kuwait working, so.
Yeah, I'll be there
gonna
for sure.
be in no fucking Kuwait. You always talk about
I'm going back overseas to work. I gotta finish doing. I'm doing my physicals and stuff now. So.
Oh, congratulations.
So yeah. So what I'm telling you.
Can we end on a high note and say we had a good debate because you didn't stress me out. You raised my blood pressure again.
Hey man,
I was going fine until you came up on this month. That's the way I was.
Listen, man. When you talk about the community, I look at every like I'm tapped in, man. So I look at the black farmers now. I look at the movement that young people buying farmland in Alabama, Atlanta, areas, and that they actually went back to Mississippi to buy more land. Like this is where we at.
Okay, so to all the local farmers, and we're going to expand it to even if you are not local and you are outside of the state of Maryland and not even in Baltimore, because even though Mike said you gotta have acres of land, you ain't gotta have acres of land. You got a couple pots of like little veggies and shit. Bring it down to the Arlington Farmers Market Summer 2023. We're gonna be lit. We're gonna try to get Mike to come there to try to expand his horizons and let him know, teach him how to
be there.
Pot. And Boscoe gonna come and teach me and Mike how to grow some stuff in the pot. You don't need $10,000. Mike, see if we can get something for like 34. You know what I mean?
Man, all them jewels y'all be buying, we got resources together.
Thank you for tuning in, everybody. We out of here.
Boscoe.